Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, as the Commissioner said, the afternoon is not over yet. Throughout the day, we have discussed innovation, transformation, and the future we are looking for and we want to build together. Now, perhaps one of the most important questions remains, how do we change not only our system, but also our aspirations? Today, we have a lot of digital platforms, algorithms, and fast-moving trends that increasingly design how we consume, what we wear, how we see ourselves. And yet, along this reality, we are witnessing a rise of a different movement, a movement that values craftsmanship, cultural identity, locality, durability, creativity, and care. To explore these questions, I am pleased to welcome our moderator, Gaia Danese, from the European External Action Service. Please welcome her on stage.
Thank you very much, and it is such an emotion and a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm Gaia Danese. I work at the European Union External Action Service. I'm responsible for the public diplomacy and the international cultural relations, and I'm also an Italian diplomat. Today, I'm here to introduce you to a very interesting panel that starts from an observation. We live in a world of fast trends, algorithms, and overconsumption, planned obsolescences. This provokes a lot of exclusion and anxiety. These are the rules of our world. We will explore today together, and please participate. You have a Slido application, a QR code. You can ask questions, so I warmly invite you to do so. So we will explore together an alternative way forward based on craft, tradition, and human skills. Creativity, care, and durability as an antidote to endless newness. Do we really need this endless newness? This panel is about what we can choose consciously to wear, live, and be, but is also, and more than that, about beautiful, sustainable, and inclusive, like the European Bauhaus motto, because it is inquiring how we can create a more inclusive future, how this can be internationally built by reviving knowledge that is shared and ancestral, and not certainly new, but innovative at the same time. Probably this is the best counter-movement against the clash of civilization, the battle of narrative. These are the typical now topics that we have in international relations, to move towards a community of sense. Because such knowledge, this ancestral knowledge, belongs to humanity as a whole, and it is universally and culturally fine-tuned at the same time, which is very good. We do not want this platitude of plastic, ready for all knowledge. I want to give you a concrete example, because the reason why I get very interested into this topic is because I was observing the patterns that we have on textile around all the world. And I realized that these patterns are all the same. You can go to Amazonia, you can go to Africa, you can go to Sardinia in Italy, just to make a few examples, and you will find the same fractal geometry of the universe on their ancestral textiles. This means that that knowledge is shared. Those textiles, they were a way of weaving society, they were a way of healing society, and they had messages to communicate, meaningful messages. It was not just a mechanical repetition of a pattern. So I have to say that to kick this, off this discussion, I have the privilege to have today very inspiring speakers, and I want to invite them to join us on stage. Tamari Apsiauri, co-founder of Cosmo LCC, please. She's from Georgia. Then we have Anlin Bartels, co-founder and creative director of Noto from Belgium. And finally, Guillermo Orduña, co-founder of Muncun from Spain. Please, Guillermo. And now, let me immediately leave them the floor to introduce themselves, their vision, and so start guiding us towards the artisanal revolution. Please, Tamari, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi, everyone. It's a very pleasure to be here. I'm Tamari Aptior, co-founder of the Georgian handmade products brand Cosmo. Of Cosmo, craft is not only the past, it's the system of the future. Cosmo is a 100% women-led company, locally owned manufacturing. Today we have more than 90% people in our team, and now we have 12 our brand store in our country. Now we want to be spread in Europe also. I want to say that in our company, craft is not only the okay. We combine handmade production with machinery, laser engraving for personalization, digital design for prints, and material optimization. Now we are making a new collection with grape seeds biomaterial. Cosmo is not only about product, it's all about community. We bring collect together artisans, designers, painters, technicals, young professionals, customers, and stories. We call our community Cosmoel. What I want to tell more about our main direction open workshop place. At this place, customers and our team members work together. You can visit, buy ready products. Also, you can study production, and you have opportunity to work with our team one day. Craft is not outdated. It can be future system. We combine human intelligence, community, technology, and responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamari. And now the floor is for Annelien. Please, let's keep a bit quiet so that our speakers can be encouraged, because this is, I have a privilege of having a mic, but they don't. It's more difficult with the other mic. Please, Annelien.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Annelien Bertels. I'm a textile designer and co-founder of Noto, which is an international non-profit organization based in Brussels that positions itself at the intersection of craftsmanship, architecture, textile, and cultural exchange. I co-founded Noto in 2025 together with architect Waldo de Keersmaker out of the shared frustration from both our respective fields in architecture and fashion. We actually felt that there was a disconnect in the way that materials are processed, but also the meaning and the connection to the materials, and basically the poetry of consuming those objects. And Noto was actually born out of an emergency to change all of that. We bridge ancestral knowledge with contemporary design through what we call artisanal intelligence. We are really foregrounding the intelligence of the making. It means to go back to the intimacy of the connection with the hands, the humans behind it, but also the tools that are often overlooked in industrial processes of making. And so in 2025, Noto was commissioned by the European External Action Services to create a residency crafts project for the European Pavilion, European Union Pavilion in Osaka World Expo. We selected 5 European artists, designers, art historians, and we sent them for a 1-month immersion to Japan. Luckily, there's 3 of them here today. So we paired each of them with one master artisan in 5 different regions all over Japan. The results have been and are exhibited all around Japan and Europe this year in 2026. But we are also looking ahead already, because in 2027 we plan an upscaled edition of artisanal intelligence that is going to be more interdisciplinary, bridging architecture, audiovisual arts, but also textile arts, and partnerships with Austrian and Finnish institutions and universities. Because for Noto, it's when the designer, the artisan, and the scholar meet, that's when artisanal intelligence emerges. And as a response to our first edition of Artisanal Intelligence, we felt so much enthusiasm that we really want to push this forward. And we really feel the urge to do this, and we will speak about it later today.
Thank you so much. You're so perfect, all of you. So, Guillermo, in timing and in wording. Please, Guillermo.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm pleased to be here. I don't know how many people are from outside the fashion or the textile industry here in the room. Okay, not so many. Okay, so I worked for 20 years trying to take the knowledge from the labs, the scientific lab, to people. I worked as science communicator. And then 3 years ago, I met my colleague, and we founded Munkun, which is our SME. And for the last 2 years, we started to do the same, but with the knowledge about the materials that are used to produce different textiles. We were part of an Erasmus Plus project. It's called Imasus. So we team up with a studio from Prato in Italy. It's called Lotto Zero, and a network of creative hub from Greece, and our scientific partner, also from Zaragoza, as myself, which is called Nanoscience and Nanotechnology Institute. So we map different producers, and for our surprise, there are so many materials out there that you can use, besides and apart from polyesters. So we found bio-based materials, bio-grown materials, materials that are so ephemeral that it should be used only for artistic purposes. And with our team of researchers, they start doing different micrographies because they are researchers. So they have microscopic electrons. This one, for example, is from regenerated wool, from ships from Prato. And we did the same with other kinds of materials. So in the end, what we tried with our project is to open knowledge and give students from design textile and design fashion to come up with new ideas that could tackle some of the challenges of the industry. So that's our project.
Thank you so much, Guillermo. You're even ahead of time. That makes me a little room to sum up. So you are here representing a movement. I would like to believe in that. There are many craft people like you that are starting to invest in it. As you've seen, we've been mentioning production models, materials, and a concept of life, a different concept of life, and a promising concept for our future. So now I would like to dive a little bit deeper and ask each of you a key question. Guillermo, I'll start from you. In the actual more and more complex and unstable local and global scenarios, how can we move from an abstract praising and desiring this ancestral knowledge, which is very fashionable, it's very trendy now to speak about it, to a real change in the production approach, to impact and share our future economy as a so transform our future economy into a more inclusive and sustainable economy. 2 minutes.
I think it's a great question because you cannot answer with just one solution. It's a question that is very complex. What we did is, and I have to warn you, is that we didn't produce materials, we work with them. And we discovered that sometimes the traditional knowledge is inside the people who made the costume, or sometimes it's behind crystal, like here in the museum. But it's very difficult to take it outside and to share, to transfer to different sectors. So for us, one of the solutions that could help to do that is to open the knowledge. It's like give it room to everyone to use it. And there is another thing that we have seen those days in the fair, is that there are a lot of people coming to our place saying, oh, you have such nice materials, so impressive. But the impressive was to myself, because there are so many people who were with background from the fashion industry, but they were working in another place to make a living. So I was reflecting yesterday and I said, maybe to live like a designer, you only can be like the superstar, like in the football, or there is no room for you. So I think that there is a huge gap between the great player and the small players. And how can we fill that and change the destination at that stage? And I think that in that point, the new European Bauhaus has the value, because using co-creation and participation, creating small communities that are rooted to the local values of the area, you could produce different business models that are sustainable for the people who are doing it.
Yes, thank you very much. And so I would like to highlight that on one side, you're talking also about a community building. You're talking about something that makes me think about my experience as an Italian. How did Italy develop after the war, and especially on crafting? It is with this model of the distretti industriali that was exactly this kind of idea. You need to create a community around the production and not a market. It's much more interesting to create first a community of production, and then the market will come. And so probably that model is still a very good one, and going back to it, it's not a waste of time. Another thing I see in what you said is that the human factor is fundamental, because knowledge is in people. Knowledge is not in machines. Knowledge is not in the artificial intelligence if we don't put it there. Opening the knowledge, there are many ways. So, Anlin, what you are doing makes me think about also the opening of knowledge. And I want to ask you how this community and economic approach can translate into a peer-to-peer dialogue at international level to foster exchange of knowledge instead of cultural appropriation. Because how do we make this become a real symmetric exchange between people that builds something else?
But indeed, we were really overwhelmed with the reactions of our project for the EU Pavilion at Osaka called Artisanal Intelligence, where we indeed really paired each European designer with a Japanese artisan to create to foster these peer-to-peer dialogues where the human relationship was really the most important. We didn't ask them to produce anything as a final product, but just to meet. And I think through these meetings between EU craft traditions and non-EU craft traditions, we can really foster a new creative language. And I think this was the most important, that these languages are melting and creating something new. But also important was that there was many enthusiasts from cultural institutions, policymakers, institutions, But I think, yeah, artisanal intelligence doesn't not only want to build like a residency program, it goes way beyond. It wants to create a movement, and to create a real impact out of this movement, I think we need a structural change, especially in Europe, and that's why Noto really wants to advocate for a European recognition or a European status of the craft for the craftspeople, where there can be a framework with social security, like an economic viability and all of these systems around it. But also for us, it was important to connect to the local communities in Japan to ensure that we would not appropriate their culture. And so to really understand the connection with the local municipalities, through this we could understand the traditional knowledge that is preserved there and how to react on this knowledge and really create a dialogue. But I also want to add one more thing, that we see craft not as a relic of the past, but more as a tool for the future, to create these dialogues and to foster the new language that I mentioned before. And so it's like, it's the perfect tool for the future if we talk about community, like if we talk about preserving the heritage, because the local fibers are grounded in the ground. And I think it's about a local production also that has meaning in a global sense, but is still locally active.
Thank you so much. And I like, first of all, I know you want to make of Noto a worldwide project, and I really wish you will be able to do it. And of course, the European institutions are accompanying these processes, as you have seen in all our speakers. And we will try to stand by all of you to progress in the dissemination and the growing of your projects. Now, we've touched the economic question, we've touched the society, we've touched the role of people, the importance of co-creation and sharing knowledge. And now I come to the elephant in the room, which is politics. And I address this question to Tamari. Can the artisanal approach be a political tool for active citizenship? Because can we move also outside of only the economic and community approach and think that those citizens that choose to produce in this way, can they be agents of change? And if yes, how can technology support the ancestral knowledge to this end?
Yes, I believe that artisanal approach can be a tool of active citizenship, but we don't believe that it must be the direct of political sense. We believe that it's more a civic responsibility. We make such open workshop space where every people can work together, also our customers, visitors, our team members, and together we create a new space of new economic models. And craft, for us, craft, it's not only a saving of tradition, it's all about people, local production, green and circular economics. But without technology, we could not go so far. Because of our customer demand and for the emotional connection, we add all of our 12 branches personalization by laser engraving machines. But this technology could not work without human. It's important to have technology, but for us it's main idea that we could not work. We combine, we can achieve more and more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I personally find it very comforting that the human factor cannot be erased. I don't know. What do you think about it? And I also find it very interesting that in this approach, the line between producers and consumers becomes a very fine line. because we are all citizens and we can all be responsible of what we produce and what we consume in a circular approach, which is a bit also the theme of today's panel, no? How this becomes a circular approach. And now it's the nice moment in which I open the floor for the questions. I'm not very technological. As you can see, all of us, we have notes, handmade notes. And so, but I will try to use this Slido application. You can join by the QR code if you have questions, and I'm supposed to see them appear on my screen. Please, make me feel this emotion. Beautiful. So, many circular economy solutions optimize production. Can artisanal intelligence also help us reduce consumption? Or does it mainly make consumption more efficient? Very interesting questions. Who wants to start?
I can start, I think.
Yes.
But also the question is what is more efficient? Because we have been working with artisans in Japan, more specifically an artisan working on Okinawa with banana fibers. It's the fully artisanal process, and when we come with the European view on this process, we were like, but this could be more efficient, this could be more efficient. But what is in the end the result of efficiency? Because for him, everything is about the sense. And it's the time that he spends with the materials that makes sense. And I think if we can also look at the sense making within the processes, then what is the sense in all those super efficient industrial making processes? And this was for us, for not a big eye-opener where we thought, okay, but this sense making is not only about how the consumer sees the value in the final product, but also in the making process, because how do we feel about a garment that we wear that is produced in such a bad way, but we don't have this personal relationship with the person because we don't know who made it. And I think this is something that we definitely have to advocate for.
Thank you very much. So you see that we go back to this idea of sense and of a common sense and community of sense. And this is a bit what we all feel when we continue to wear that belt that belonged to our grandmother or that dress that belonged to our mother. It has another sense. Huh? So this is maybe the way in which we can change fashion. Anyone want to comment? Please.
2 years ago, about this fashion, that fashion is a return, we make the campaign that granddaughters and their daughters exchange their clothes. And it's very look and funny to see in their clothes. Yes, and I agree that fashion is not changing. It's circular.
Gidi, you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that it depends on where do you use the AI. In the case of the project, it was a surprise for me that the students, for example, who designed the costume that I have behind me, they use it for the ideation process. And then they go to the table, to the lab, and they start cutting without wasting anything. But for me, it depends a lot on when and where and how do you use the tools.
Yes. So then, if we go to this question on consumption, probably it's because we have to move even farther away from just looking for recyclable materials, which is also interesting. But maybe we also need to go to another approach, which is how do I take care of a garment? How do I make it last long time? So this reduces both consumption and makes it also more efficient, no? Another question, what is your vision for a craftsperson career on work life, knowing they have to practice their craft and be a one-person orchestra with seeking funding and other functions that take away focus and time? Wow, this is... Any one of you feels frustrated sometimes?
Yeah, and that's why actually we want to advocate for this new recognition for a craftsperson, like a European recognition, because then maybe there could be a way that he doesn't have to each time apply for funding, but has a constant support, I think, and then the focus can really be on the knowledge, but also the transmission, because I think we also really need to inspire the next generation. Otherwise, I mean, in Europe it's already quite bad, but then there would no one be inspired to continue with this harsh work.
I think it raises a question that is a real fact. It's very difficult to be alone out there, and it's very difficult to work in such a long tail and supply chain. For example, you may want some of the textiles that we bring here, and you say, oh, I want to work, I don't know, with hemp. You cannot buy it for yourself. You have to buy such a big shipment that you cannot do it alone. So in that sense, I think that, again, the values of the NEP, the New European Bauhaus, are very good, and we should explore it together. Because when you weave a network around something, you will find support, and maybe you don't have to ask for funding, because there is another partner who can do it better than you.
And I don't know if you want to add something, or okay. On this funding question, I also would like to say that, I mean, I know your work better, Annelien, because we've been working together. But what I'm very admired about is the way you constantly move and raise and even launch a crowdfunding, so you can use different tools at the same time. This is not about being subventioned, because only the subvention approach, it also limits your freedom in a certain sense. So I like very much the fact of this mix of tools that we can have in order to also preserve your freedom as citizens, researchers, innovators. Now, we have a wonderful public. I have many questions. How to overcome the tension between taking the time for artisanal intelligence and the current speed of life? Is it compatible? Maybe Tamari wants to say something.
Yes, I think that artisanal intelligence can may improve our life, our everyday life, but it's important to save our humanity in everyday life. Me and my team agree with this, that not all of the technologies and all machineries, it has not soul. We think that we are human. We create this artisanal intelligence also, and it's for us, not for technologies. Yeah.
So anyone want to comment on this, or I move to the other question?
But it's true that if we see everything going so fast around us, that we cannot really value the slowness. So I think, yeah, we really need a structural change. But how to arrive to that change, it has to come from within. But I think the more we expand as a movement, artisanal intelligence movement, I think the more we can really advocate for this kind of slowness. For example, we organized a natural fiber workshop 1 day ago as part of our satellite event at the NEP Festival, and the reactions of the participants was really like, wow, but I really felt like in a bubble for 48 hours. I will try to apply this approach in my daily life. And so we don't need so many events to give us the triggers that it's worth it. And I think if we can really show and feel it, I think it's enough.
So in a certain sense, we go towards a reappropriation of life. It is about also meditating. It is about making space for other things. And it's high time we reappropriate ourselves of our lives. No? I mean, all that is happening around us is pushing toward this anxiety. But maybe, as my yoga teacher was always saying to me, if you have time, do yoga. If you don't have time, do more yoga. And then it's true that time expands. It's interesting what happens. So I move to the other question. Can artisanal production bring value to objects, makes owners want to repair them and keep to repair and keep them. It is also more expensive. Should we also talk about artisanal consumptions like our grandparents? This brings us back a bit to a similar question we had before, but maybe we can develop a little bit more.
Yeah, for me it's the beauty of the sense of belonging. If I have a piece of garment or a cloth that it was from my grandparent because it's made from the wool from his sheep, I want to wear it, and I want to keep it, and I want to repair it. So for me, it has to be with the narratives and with the beautiness of the sense of belonging.
Yes, like in a certain sense, the fact it is that our grandparents, they used to say, spend a little bit more and you will save for the future. And this goes completely, like, reverses this planned obsolescence they're imposing on us. And we can rebel against that. We can choose to try to keep alive our objects and to give purpose to what is done. I also want to give you a small example. Some friend of mine sent me a picture the other day from Palermo. In many small villages of Sicily, they are reviving the waste collection with, I don't have the name in donkeys, with donkeys. The traditional Sicilian donkey is now re-employed to collect the waste. And that is a beautiful way of perpetuating a tradition and making it become efficient, because in those small streets, if you try to put cars, everything gets blocked. So why not? Huh? So now, to all three of you, what do you need? What do you miss to implement your approach, your business models, your practice to make the needed change happen? What are you feeling is really missing and you would need? Yes, please, Tamari.
I can answer. I answer the question from the side of my country. I'm from Georgia. You know, we are not the part of the EU at this moment, and lots of possibilities, opportunities from EU. It's not accessible, but it will be there. Lots of gifted artisans in our country, and yeah, I want to say that every people and can accessible to European and modern opportunities. And I want to say that thank you to this NEP Fashion Adapter and the program Creative Culture and Creativity to give us opportunity to be such a wide audience for me and for my company. It's a great pleasure.
So there are instruments also.
Yeah.
There are things missing still, but there are instruments. Do you want to
Yeah,
answer?
no, in our case, what we would like is not to change our business model, but to reach all the schools. So we want the schools of fashion and textile to use the database, and the thing that we think that we lack and that we need is that we should be more openness in our information. Yeah, today we have been in a workshop and they asked us about how do you perform sustainability analysis, and we said this was out of scope of our project. So there are much things that can be done, that can be implemented, and the good thing is that if you do it by design, open, interoperability with all the platforms, with all the systems in Europe is more probably used by other people. So now Imasus is out there, so I invite you everywhere to copy, to replicate it, to use it, or to write to me and say, hey, this is not working, and we will try to improve it.
Andine, anything to add?
I think we need time because we only exist since 1 year, but I think we managed to create an ecosystem in ways of thinking with institutions all over Europe that have the same vision and have the same desire to work together and feel the same urge. And I think this urge is really what is giving us the adrenaline to continue with this movement and with this vision. And so I think for us it's a matter of time and coming together with, like we said, universities, cultural institutions, but also policymakers. So I think we also need funding, and that's why we are launching a crowdfunding. But yeah, I think that's a very short, concrete answer.
And I have to say that here, as a representative of the institutions, I'm really very grateful because you exist. And it is really very refreshing. I have this chance to work with people like you, to work with artists, and I realize that there is hope for a better world. Each time I sit down with you, each time we create a project, each time we engage partners from all over the world, it is really very exciting. So things are missing, and thank you for this question because it was a very caring question. But there is energy that we are investing to make things change. Final question, and very quick. In your view, what are the skills most needed to advance artisanal intelligence? Who wants to say?
Yeah, I think there is a gap in the green skills. I think we need to change the way that we learn, that we use knowledge, that we share the knowledge. When we were starting our project, we were thinking about writing a book almost by hand, not really. But when we develop it, we say, okay, if there is any kind of artificial intelligence, maybe the students want to use it. So why don't we also produce it in a way that the machines can read it? So we change the way that we do it. So I think we have to adapt ourselves and to see which is the best part of each one of the tools that we have ahead.
I think the skills we need is co-creation. It's a very short answer, and I think also within Europe, more European-based collaboration between countries, member states.
And?
I think that artisanal intelligence, I agree with you, and no, thank you.
So thank you so much. And then we can say that on one side, we need to get to know the technologies and dance with the technology in a certain sense, not just refuse. This is not about going back to the past. This is about building the heritage of the future. So we have to do it in the world we are in. And on the other hand, this co-creation approach that always keep people and their knowledge at the center, but is open to cross-fertilization. It is not just about I have the knowledge and you don't have it, so I will create capabilities for you, I will enable you. No, let's move away. Let's create an inclusive growth. Let's do it together, no? And this is towards our partners around the world. So now, I want to give our speakers the opportunity to give us one last message, 1 minute each. Please, let's leave this beautiful audience with hope and vision.
I go first. For me, the vision is in just 1 minute. We should make use of the platforms of Europe to develop the technology that is open, that is based here, that is rooted in the European countries, and that we use it in a way that is replicable and interoperable and open, and let's embed the values of the NEP, also the beauty, not only the sustainability and the inclusion in the digital world.
Annalene.
For us, it's artisanal intelligence is really a movement with an ecosystem that is connecting makers across continents. As I said, co-creation, I think, between continents, between craft traditions is the way that we can move forward. And the dance, the choreography together with the machines and the tools is, I think, that we have to embrace for moving forward.
Tamari.
For us, I want to say that future will be what we make, how we imagine. That I want also that future will be more artisanal, more humanity, not only technology, and I hope so everything. And what this all of 5-day NEB says, it will come through very soon. And yeah.
Yes, and so I would like to say to close this session, thank you very much to the European Bauhaus for hosting us, for working together for this also international approach to the European Bauhaus, the opening to the world, and may the artisanal approach be the intelligence of the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gaia, and your panelists, of course. I would like to invite you to take your seats back in the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a keynote speaker, and that will be followed by a panel discussion with our keynote speaker, amongst other panelists. But she is walking on crutches, so we will wait 1 minute so she can come on stage, and then I will introduce her.